Okay, so in this video we're going to be going through how to find the lowest common multiple and highest common factor. So if you've never done this before, make sure that you've watched the other video on how to do factor trees and how to find the product of primes, okay, because that's going to help you with what we're doing today. So lowest common multiple is the lowest number that these two will go into, okay? So this one's always going to be bigger than the two numbers that you have. Than the two numbers. Okay, so it's the smallest number that these two both go into. So think about if you had to write down these times tables, it's the first number that you would see that appears in both of those times tables. Okay, the highest common factor is the largest number that goes into them. Okay, so remember, factor means a number that can go into it. So for example, a factor of 12 would be 2, because 12 divided by 2 gives you 6. Okay, so this one is always going to be smaller than the two numbers. Okay, because lots of people mix these up. A lot of people think because it says higher that you think it's going to be bigger than the two numbers that are there, okay, but it's not. So this is just the highest common factor, is the highest number that goes into both of those, or as a factor of both of them. Lowest common multiple is the smallest number that both of these go into. So essentially these are the factors to go into the lowest common multiple. So the first thing we need to do for these sorts of questions is draw a factor tree and work out the product of primes. So find, pop. Okay, so I'm going to start with the 12. Okay, so again, I've done this in a previous video. So 2 times 6 gives us 12. And then we always circle the one that's prime. And then 6, numbers that multiply to make 6 would be 2 and 3. Okay, so the product of primes would be 2 times 2 times 3. Now I'm not going to write it the alternative way, and you're going to see why, because I'm going to be doing some crossing out later. Okay, and then again for 18. Numbers that multiply to make 18 could be 2 and 9. Okay, again, you could have used 3 and 6, but you'd still get the same primes at the end, okay? And the next one, so that'll be 3 and 3. So the product of primes for 18 would be 2 times 3 times 3. Okay, so once we get to this point, we're going to draw a Venn diagram, okay? So if you've never heard of a Venn diagram, all it is two circles that overlap each other, okay? I'm going to put a box around it. Not that it matters too much with these sorts of questions, but when you do Venn diagrams in statistics, it's really important that you put that rectangle around it. So we're going to put them in for now. So the numbers that we're going to put in the middle are going to be the numbers that appear in both of these. So I'm going to call this one 12 and this one 18. So if we look at our product of primes, we see which one numbers appear in both of them. So if we notice, we've both got at least 1, 2. So I'm going to put a 2 in there, and then I'm going to cross them off because it means that I've dealt with them. Okay, now this one has another 2, but this one doesn't. So that means we can't put another 2 in the middle because this one doesn't have it. Okay, but they both do have a 3, so I'm going to add a 3 in the middle, and again I'm going to cross them off because it means I've dealt with it. Okay, and just to check, we've got nothing else in common because they've got a 2 and they've got a 3. Okay, so what I'm going to add here is the 2, which was from there, and the 3, which is from here. Okay, so the middle part is the highest common factor. And what we do with those two numbers, if it's just one number, then the highest common factor will be that. But if it's 2, we multiply them together. So highest common factor is 2 times 6, which is 12. I didn't mean that. 2 times 3, which is 6. There we go. Okay, which is true. So if we think about 6 times 2 gives us 12, and 6 times 3 gives us 18. Okay, now the lowest common multiple are all the numbers in the Venn diagram multiplied together. So we've got a 2 there, we've got a 2 and a 3 in the middle, and we've got a 3 in the 18 part. Okay, and then we just multiply those and see what we get. So that's 4, that's 9, so it's going to be 36. Okay, so that's the answer. The highest common factor is 6 and the lowest common multiple is 36. Okay, so again I'm going to do exactly the same steps for the next one. So we're going to start with our factor trees first. So that could be 9 and 3, and 3 is prime. Then it can be 3 and 3, which again are both prime. So that's just 3 times 3 times 3. And we do the same for 36, so it could be 4 and 9. Okay, neither of those are prime, so I'm just going to start with the 4 first and then I'll come back to the 9. So 4 is 2 times 2. They're both prime, so I can circle them. Then I go back to the 9. 3 times 3 gives us 9. And they're both prime. So we've got 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. Okay, and again, we're then going to draw the Venn diagram. I've drawn it very small though. So 27 and 36. So again, we look at both of them, see what they both have in common. So they've both got a 3 in, so I'm going to start with putting a 3 in the middle. Okay, and I'm going to cross it off. Okay, they both have another 3 in common, so I'm going to add another 3, even though you can't see it. Oh. Okay, now the 27 has another 3, but the 36 doesn't, so we can't put another one in. So this has an extra 3 left over, and the 36 has 2 2s. Okay, so again, the highest common factor is the 2 numbers in the middle multiplied together, so 3 times 3, which is 9. And then the lowest common multiple are all the numbers multiplied together. So we've got a 3 in the 27 one, we've got 2 3s in the middle, and we've got 2 2s there. So that's 27, 54, 108. Okay. So these